Hello, everybody. Hello. Happy Thursday. Get excited. It is Thursday. We got one more day till the weekend. Well, I'm starting my weekend kind of early, kind of. But hello and welcome again to Stay the Course, Intimate Stories from Women Who Win. Of course, you guys know me. I'm Desi, and I am super excited for my guest tonight. This week has been amazing. But listen, before I jump in to all the goodies that we have for you tonight, go ahead and say hello. Let us know where you're joining from in the world. Last night we had people from all over the United States. We had Belize. We had Curacao. I mean, I think that's pretty doggone cool if you ask me. Pretty cool. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I see some folks. Hello, Miss Barbara. Thank you for joining me again tonight. You know I love you, girlfriend. Thanks for being here. Hey, Debbie, sending you love too. Hello, thank you for joining. Let me see, who else do we have on here? Miss Sandy, Miss Zimmerman. Hey. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining tonight. Kirsty, thank you so much for joining. You guys, let everyone know where you're joining from. Let us know where you're joining from. Do not be afraid to say hello. And also, do not be afraid to click the heart button if you like something. I'm just saying. Anyway, enough about me. This week has been amazing. We've talked about your starting point. We've talked about growth and investing in yourself. We've talked about what it looks like to live a meaningful life. We have gone deep into some topics that, can be a little uncomfortable. Again, thank you for allowing me to share my own journey with you. Talking about dealing with difficult, mental health issues can be hard. We've talked about burnout. We've talked about the chronic stress and the anxiety and the frustration and the exhaustion and the lies that we tell ourselves, trying to make ourselves believe that we are not in a place that we need help in. We've talked about appearing strong when everything inside of you is screaming. We've talked about, dealing with this stuff for 15 and 20 years. We've talked about last night, Gina was amazing just in sharing her own journey and where she is today and feeling joyful knowing that she's living a meaningful life. Well, tonight is no different, and I am super excited about my guest tonight, Miss Diane Caine. Oh my goodness, we have had the opportunity to become dear friends and to know a lot more about each other. And her story is amazing. And we'll get into it more, but I want to share something with you before I bring her on. And it's this. A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. Who do you have that you can stand back to back with in your life? Who do you have where the three of you are together? As a matter of fact, you probably don't even need three, because if you got you and someone else, you're going to be okay. I am super excited. Let me go ahead and bring Miss Diane Caine on. Diane, hello, honey.
Hello, Desi. Hello.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for saying yes and for being here tonight.
It was my pleasure. I can't say no to you. It's just not happening.
You could, but you didn't, so I'm happy about that.
No, I could, but I didn't want to. We had so much fun together.
I love it. Well, listen, we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. I have had the opportunity to get to know you even greater since we've been on, we've been on our journey together. We were in New York earlier this year together,
Yes,
and just developing this amazing sisterhood
absolutely.
and bond. And so I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna shut up. But if you would tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I would be delighted to do that. So I am on the East Coast. I'm in Rhode Island. We brought you to New York and you froze, you California girl that you are. And so my husband said next time we need to go to California to where you are when we do these things, so it's warmer.
Smart man.
Like 35 degrees here now.
You said how cold?
It's 35. It's typical New England weather.
Yeah, no. I'm good, honey. Look, I got that Caribbean blood that runs through my veins, so that's why it's so hard.
She's like, no. So, what more? I live here in Rhode Island with my husband, Bobby, and we have 4 kids between the 2 of us. We've got Michael, Lindsay, Thomas, Brianna, and we have a grandbaby named Hunter, who I mush his cheeks all of the time, and it's an adventure. And yeah, we were together in New York. We have the John Maxwell team in common, and our journeys are just way too familiar and similar, and this is why we are bonded and forever sisters and stuck together.
Exactly. It was really incredible too to find someone that I had never met before.
Yeah.
And we get together, and then you see how much of a common bond we had together, and how our stories were similar, and some of our experiences were similar.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the experiences. Now, as you know, this whole journey with Stay the Course, I've shared about burnout and what burnout is. I've shared how many adults in the United States are affected by burnout.
Yeah.
And just it's like it does its inquisition in your life, right? And just like it can come out of nowhere, and it can take over, and
Yes.
it can wreak all kinds of havoc. So if you would share with us where you were in your experience.
Where was I in my experience? So in 2016, my position for my corporate job was eliminated, which was a blessing because it had been something that I was really disengaged in for probably 2 years prior to the position being eliminated. And working in a global environment, high expectations, you're working crazy hours, acquisitions, mergers, all of those things, new projects coming in. And at that time, I was remarried. But prior to that, I had been a single mom, raising 2 girls, really in that position. So back in 2007 was when I had hired a coach for the first time, when my divorce was final. And so that in itself was really not what I had expected,
Now, when you say, I'm sorry. So when you say that's not what you expected, so when you were, you're in this position at work, you're involved, you've got tons of responsibility, tons of clout, the title, the money, you're winning in life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you experience a life change, a divorce.
Yeah.
You experience a job loss, major life event.
Absolutely.
You experience marriage, another major life event.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, who were you?
Well, I was put on the mask and just do what had to be done. It was whatever had to be done. So divorce, single mother, 2 girls, within the executive position. You just kept going. There was no stopping. There was juggling. There was, if one of the kids was sick, it was work from home. Thankfully, I had support. My mom was very supportive. The girls were taken care of. I traveled because I believe that it was an up the rung ladder, and here I am. I'm the sole provider keeping the roof over their head. So yes, there was responsibility and child support, but you still, as a single mom going, I really didn't plan for this. I expected to be married for the rest of my life. When you say I do, that's what it means. Till death do you part, not till I find someone else. And that's what had happened. So I really had to move forward because I had two girls that I was setting an example for and wanting to show them that you would rebound from this. And the way that the marriage ended was infidelity. And so there was a lot going on internally. I could put the mask on and operate every single day, but there was still that inner critic I was just not good enough, because if I was good enough, there wouldn't have been someone else that could come in and sabotage our marriage. So there was that playing in the background all of the time, and I just knew that I needed to rediscover who I was in this new shell that I was, this single mom.
How did you? So let's talk about your confidence, and just the ideas of confidence and courage.
Yeah.
In that woman, talk about that. Where were you when it came to those very critical needs that we have to have within? But, where were you when it comes to that?
I put on a good front. I could put on a good front at work. I could take care of what I was doing. I had the appearance of being confident, but I didn't feel confident at all. There was always that self-doubt. There was always never good enough. Wasn't good enough. Is this good enough? Is that good enough? I'm not sure it's good enough. But still being able to move forward. It's funny that you asked me that confidence question, because that would be something that would come up recurringly. I would know the answers at work. I would be sitting at the table at work, but I wasn't always opening my mouth. And it was another peer that had said something to me, and she said, "We do 360 reviews. That's what we do in corporate America, right? We get feedback." And I loved her because it was such a gift of feedback that she gave me. She puts it into the computer anonymously. I get the information. And then she sends me an email and says, "I want to set up some time to talk to you, because this line right there, that was me. And I want to tell you what I observe." And she was the one who called me out. And she said, "You know, and you have this value to add. You're great when we're having this conversation together. But when we're in an environment where you should really be speaking up because you know the answer and you have value to add, you're not. And you need to do that." And that was my first aha of, I'm like, oh, well, I'm probably playing smaller than I really should be.
Oh my gosh, I can totally relate to that. It's this thing of, okay, well, if I say it, I've got so many things going on inside of me, and I know that I can contribute, but is it going to sound like what's going on in my head when it comes out of my mouth? And if I am just in this really low place and I know that I'm pretending to be okay, are they going to see it? Will they respect me if they do? Just some of that inner language that happens, right? That inner talk that we have.
The courage talk, yeah.
So confidence. What about your courage?
The courage was there because my girls fueled my courage for that. I knew that I had to set the example for them. I knew that I needed to provide for them. And so I didn't think about it as courageous. I just thought about, I'm doing what I need to do for them, no matter what it takes. And so I didn't ever perceive it as courageous. I just saw it as, this is what you did. You keep moving forward.
I call that, the it is what it is.
Yes, I have the sign in my kitchen.
It is what it is. So, right. Look, Desi. No, this is me talking to myself. Look, heifer, cut out all that noise. We don't have time to cry. We don't have time to be weak. If you don't go to work, you're not going to eat. These children did not ask to come here. So you need to get it together. I mean, these are the conversations that I would have with myself. And it's like, okay, that would then translate itself into, oh, she's got it together. She's on point. She is, just my own perception of how people perceive me. You know what I mean?
well, you would put that steely armor on around you and just keep going.
It was
just go into battle.
it was safer.
Absolutely.
It was safer. So let's talk about that. So when I think of a confident woman, when I think of a woman who's courageous, excuse me. When I think of a woman who knows what she wants and she's very, very clear,
Mm-hmm.
did you see yourself that way, or the way that others saw you? Or when you were by yourself, did you just have other, like, did you have other thoughts going on? Like, what was that piece of it?
I never received the way people saw me. I just didn't. People would tell me that I was strong. People would tell me that I was courageous. People would tell me that I acted with grace and dignity. And I've said, oh, okay. Like, I wouldn't, because the armor was up so tight, I would never receive that. I didn't see myself the way I saw people. I saw myself as just doing what I needed to do, because this is what I have to do. I just do it. And then alone in the quiet, when the girls were at their dad's house, and I'm finding myself in an empty house going, I don't know what to do with myself. That's when the ugly cry would come up, and that's when I would break out my Bible and start doing a lot of reading. And at that time, I had hired a coach, because I just knew that I needed to get myself together.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, getting myself together was, this is the end of this chapter, and how do I start writing a new one? And that was a difference maker for me, because it did help me. I called it Right My Ship, because I really felt like I was off course and didn't really know where the heck I was going next.
Mm-hmm.
Other than I would survive and I would move forward, and my girls would have an example of, life is difficult, but you can make a choice that it's going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And not bitter. I didn't want to be bitter. That's just not living.
Right.
And that was really what I would move forward with. But it was my faith, too, that I just leaned into. You know, my favorite verse is, I know the plans I have for you, plans for a future and a hope. And so that was something that had gotten me through difficult times back in college. And so it was the same thing that got me through. That was my Band-Aid, or my salve, or my go-to.
Right.
It still is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, wow. When I think about what it looks like to go within, and we have a starting point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of, when we think about the term "stay the course," it's like, okay, you're on track. You're running the race of life. If you get diverted to the left or right, you just got to get back on course, but you got to stay there, because there is a finish line. There's an end result that we're trying to get to.
Mm-hmm.
But before we can get to that end, there are phases, right? There are phases and paths that we have to go down. So when I think of going within and getting what we need, when you got to the place of, okay, I don't know what tomorrow might look like, but today, this is what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that woman who got that resolve, that resilience to say, okay, I'm going to get what I need. I'm going to get the tools that I need. Talk about that.
Yeah.
How did you get there?
I woke up one morning.
Okay.
It was, ironically, I had found the notebook that I had, and it was my youngest daughter's birthday. And I had been reading, I had been praying, I had been devouring anything on how you get to the next chapter at that point. And of course, I'm a woman of faith, so prayer is my go-to. And just having some meditation time and having a frank conversation with God, saying, I really didn't sign up for this crap that you gave me. What exactly are you expecting of me? And I remember, I think I probably cried myself to sleep, and then woke up the next day and had the answer of, find somebody who's going to help you reestablish that course. You made that hard decision. I was the one who asked for the divorce because I had confronted my ex-husband with that other woman.
Wait, hold on. Wait. You confronted him with her.
Yes.
Ooh, girl. Okay. All right. See, Jesus will have to work on me some more. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, I did. I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still not quite sure where that girl came from when I did that. But anyway, that inner resolve showed up. Oh, hell no.
Right? Like, oh, wait, hold on. Okay. Hey, wimp. Stay right there. I'll be back. But you got to go. You got to go. Oh my goodness. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And you know, there was that inner conviction of, I have daughters. That's not how a woman is treated in a relationship. That was that turning point for that decision to make. And then as I sat there and, you know, ugly cried out to God and wanted to get right, it was, you know, I woke up the next morning and decided that I had the rest of my life before me, and that was a chapter that God decided to close, and I was in agreement with, and even though it was very, very painful and I was feeling like a train wreck, it was just time. It was time to move forward. It was time to wipe my face and, you know, wash my face and clean up and figure out how to do this, because the rug had been pulled up from under me when I was in college, and I knew that my faith was the thing that was going to move me forward, and that God would not leave me, and He wouldn't forsake me, and He would give me something else on the horizon. I just couldn't see it.
Yes.
There was a lesson to be learned in it.
Yes.
And, you know, He revealed it to me one day at a time.
Yeah. You know, everyone, we are talking about Diane sharing her story, and she's talking about going within and where she had to go to get the tools and the resources that she needed in order to get from her starting point to now her growth phase and growing. You know, we've heard and I'm not one that's big on cliches. I don't care for cliches, but there's some sayings that make a lot of sense. And one is that people don't resist change, but they resist being changed. And when we experience change that is by no fault of our own, and we're trying to gather the pieces of our lives, and we're looking at it and saying, okay, well, how the heck did I get here? All right, so now that I'm here, what do I need to get out of it? Because I can't stay in this place. So here you are, you have gotten to this place. You said, okay, I'm going to hire somebody that's going to hold me accountable. And the thing that I love about this is that this isn't a book that you read. This isn't, you know, someone else's story. It's your own, you know, flesh and blood experience. You know, your own heartache, your own challenge, your own resolve, your own winning. That's what makes this so incredibly special, because, you know, in that experience, how many more lives can you change? How many more people can you touch and give strength to say, hey, you know what? I may not have believed it up until this point, but that resilience was created because I made a choice and I said, okay, you got to go, but I got to stay. Here we go.
That's right.
Right? Okay, so that's where you were.
Yeah.
You talked about, you know, the challenge and the stress, okay? So tell us about where you are now.
I am in a place where I can embrace that girl that was resilient. I had looked back at the things that had brought me to this place, and honestly, I'm a member of a networking group, and I had a 10-minute, and I did this map of, kind of my timeline of how did I get to where I was getting to, what course did I take. And it didn't even hit me until I actually sat there and really looked at the steps that were there. In college, I lost my fiance in a car accident. And that was a life-changing event. And moving forward, finishing my degree on time, 6 months after the accident with honors. It wasn't a thought in my mind that I didn't recognize what it took for me to do that. I just did it. Then came the divorce, the babies, then the divorce, and then the career moves and moving all the way up through the corporate ladder, and just really looking at, wow, I had accomplished a lot, but I had never ever owned any of that. It was, I just did it, I just did it, I just did it. And to get to that point of growth, and now happily remarried and blending families, and that comes with a whole bunch of fun stuff there, because it's two sets of families that are exponentially growing.
Right.
To finally being able to accept what people saw in me, as, oh yeah, that is me. And I did do that. And part of that was, we're taught to be humble. And humble for me was like, yeah, I just did what I needed to do. Until I'd been called to the carpet by a couple of people saying, no. This is how I see you, and this is what you have done. Do you not give yourself enough credit for that? And finally being able to realize that my playing small wasn't serving anybody else. And yes, that's I have accomplished those things, and owning them, but knowing that, humility is knowing that where my strength comes from. My strength comes from God, and I can't do anything that I do without Him. But owning the part of me that found that strength, that found that resolve, that did move forward, that moved up those ranks, that was successful, and learning the whole way. And being humble doesn't mean diminishing what we've done.
Right. It doesn't mean that we make everything and everyone else bigger than we are.
Yeah.
God didn't have time to make junk. I'm a woman of faith. You're a woman of faith.
Yes.
And we know that God didn't have time to make junk, right?
No.
But sometimes when we're faced with really tough life situations, we will recoil. Now, I'm not of the opinion either that we go out there and, we're completely arrogant and egotistical and, all of that stuff, because sometimes people can, to overcompensate for the hurt or to overcompensate for what they don't want to take ownership of. And I want to put a pin in that one right there, ownership. So remind me to come back to that. They'll overcompensate so that they don't have to face the reality in the mirror to say, okay, well, what is it? Where am I? What do I need to get to my next stage? And now once I've gotten it, okay, now I've got to intentionally take the growth steps. That means learning some new things. It means unlearning some things. And it means relearning some things. So as you were talking about, and I can totally relate to this because, when I went through my burnout phase, it was the confidence. I knew mentally that I had what it takes, because you don't get to levels of what people might think are, titles or whatever,
right,
without being able to produce. You just
Oh
don't,
yeah,
you
those
don't get it.
president titles come with a lot of work. Yeah.
It comes with a lot of work
And responsibility.
and responsibility. And
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't come easy.
No.
But then we could use that as a means to escape from dealing with, okay,
Mm-hmm.
how do I heal?
Yeah.
I need to heal. And I've been trying it my way.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing everything the book said. I've
Yeah.
been talking to everybody that I believe are better than me, everyone else that has an opinion.
Mm. Yes.
But when the rubber meets the road and you're in that quiet space and you're just like, okay, what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
I got to come face to face with me.
Yeah.
I got to come face to face with me. And I take ownership of every good decision and every bad decision. But as of today, we're going down a new road, a new path.
Mm-hmm.
What did taking ownership and having someone there now to be your partner in
Mm-hmm.
accountability do for you?
It helped me look forward again. It absolutely helped me look forward. It helped me to figure out who I was there. And honestly, when I hired that person and had that accountability, there was counseling that was going on the side, so it was kind of a dual thing. Um, and even in that was 10 years ago when I hired that person, and really had been able to move forward and have that success again and find a healthy relationship and be able to move forward. But when we were together in April, there was still another layer, that healing that I still hadn't gone deep enough.
Wow.
I hadn't gone deep enough. I had taken care of some of the superficial stuff, but there was still that deep wounding of why wasn't I good enough?
Yeah.
And to get really to the core of that. And when you were talking about other people's opinions, it really came down to how badly my self-worth had taken a hit. And this was after my position was eliminated in my big corporate job. When you talked about learning and unlearning and relearning, that there was all of that came up, because what you're doing as an employee for 20 years of your life, and then shifting into, I am going over to do the thing that I've always wanted to do, and being a business owner and serving other people. And after coming out of coaching, going, oh, that was so life-changing for me. I want to help people do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Many skills transfer from my corporate job, but you need to learn to think differently as a business owner, as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So that I'm not good enough bubbled itself up again, and it really held me back from taking the steps that I needed to take to move forward. Had you asked me 6 months ago to do this, I would have said, I don't think so.
Yeah. And having been witness to see that breakthrough happen,
Yeah.
that was the most beautiful. It was the most beautiful thing, and I know that it was gut wrenching. I know that it was. And you guys, just for Diane's courage and for her her desire to share the story with you, please give her some hearts, because this is not something that's easy. It's not easy to recount your story for thousands of people to see, let alone on the internet, right?
Right.
But it takes courage to look at your life and to say, you know what? I am going to evaluate every phase of where this has been and take the lessons from that and continue to grow, continue to serve, continue to share, And I know that everything's not for everybody, and some people might be like, oh my gosh, Desiree, all you guys have been talking about soppy stuff and, whatever. Then it's not for you. You can turn the broadcast off. But I would encourage you not to do that. And here's why. Because in everyone's life, there comes a point in time when your courage is going to be challenged, your confidence is going to be challenged, and you're going to question, is the road that I'm on the right road? And do I have what I need to have inside of me in order to make it to the finish line? That, and being in a community of people who have experienced that, is bar none the best place, I believe. And I'm Diane, I'm sure that you would agree with me. Being with people who are like-minded, you can't put a price on it.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like-minded and continually growing.
Yes.
Can't put a price on it. You can't.
No.
So, I commend you, because I know how challenging it can be to to have to go backwards, to continue to move forward,
Yeah. And
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was. I mean, when that revelation was still there, I went back to counseling to get really to the root of it. And you were talking about, other people's opinion. And so we're always mistaken that our self-worth is our performance. And, you and I are very much alike. We're achievers. We like to go. We like to lead. We like to move forward. We like action.
Oh, honey, all we do is win.
That's right. All we do is win.
No matter what.
No matter if we fall down, we're bleeding, and we probably should lay down, but we're going to win.
Exactly.
And I got to that ugly place of, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
I do need to lay down, and, the flu came as a result.
Right.
But when I got to that place of, when I went into counseling and we were having that conversation of, like, how was my self-worth? And I had to look in the mirror and go, it sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah.
Because my identity had been tied up in, and I didn't think it had been, but my identity had been tied up in how much I contributed to the household. I mean, I was the breadwinner, and I was the one who kept the roof over their head, and I had climbed up the ladder. I got to that executive status, and now here I am, really back at the very beginning, as a blessing, being back at the beginning. But really sitting there thinking, again, that whole I'm not good enough came up, and what the heck am I doing? Should I go back and get a JOB, or should I really stay the course?
Right.
And my husband is my partner and a blessing, and he refuses to let me quit. On the days that I want to quit, he's like, oh no, no, you're not.
You've come too far. You've come too far. Barbara says, thank you for sharing your story, Diane. It's by sharing that we are able to serve others. Love you, ladies. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you so much. I applaud you, Diane, because I know this isn't easy. So here's my last question for you. You'd mentioned, I know that you're an entrepreneur, and you were recently interviewed to share, how you work with other entrepreneurs, which was completely amazing. So tomorrow, the Stay the Course program, this program is focused on helping women get through these phases, right? The starting point, where are you going to go from? You got to start at go. You got to get the tools that you need. You got to grow yourself. You have to grow. We're in a constant state of growth. I cannot emphasize that enough. And, on to living a meaningful life. So here you are, you're working with entrepreneurs, you're working with business owners. The Diane of tomorrow. The Diane of tomorrow. What would you tell women who have been through what you've been through? You have experienced burnout.
Mhm.
and the Diane that you're working towards being tomorrow, how would you tell them to stay the course? What would you say to them?
It would be, other people will always have an opinion. Other people will always have an opinion. And some opinions are their opinions. Everybody has one. Make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people who have the same values as you, can see you for who you really are, who will tell you the truth, the good and the bad, because you do need someone to tell you, girl, you're off course. And to know that you have everything you already need inside. And other people's opinions are yet generally a reflection of them. So be cautious about who you're allowing to speak into your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and always have a buddy. When, Desi, I wouldn't have gotten through the last 6 months, or even the last 2 years, quite frankly, if I didn't have the inner circle that I have right now. And my inner circle, when I looked up in the chaos of the last 6 months, and the blessings of the last 6 months, I wouldn't have shifted the way I had shifted, and I wouldn't have made the progress that I made if I didn't have the women, and it's a tribe of women that are around me, that would pray with me, that would check in on me, that would make sure I was sleeping, that would make sure that I was eating. So make sure that you have that really good inner circle.
Yeah.
And to take care of yourself, because in that time when you're putting that armor all on and you're going, you forget to take care of you. You're taking care of everybody else. And so that has to be a priority. And sometimes I still have to be reminded. Put my oxygen mask. Oxygen mask. Desi, it's getting late. My tongue's not working.
I know it's late. I appreciate you so much.
Put your mask on first, girl.
Put your oxygen mask on.
Yes.
You gotta breathe.
Yeah.
Gotta breathe, but you gotta go within. You gotta go within. Having that circle is incredibly important, but you gotta get the tools that you need within you first. And then the other thing that you said was that when you realized that you needed help, you went and got the help that you needed. So, and I'm like you. It's like, I got people that'll call me on my mess. I mean, they would straight up call me on my crap. I mean, I was talking to a girlfriend this morning and she was, just checkmate all over me. And I was like, hey, back up or I'm going to hang up the phone. She's like, okay, go ahead. I'm going to call you right back. Go for it. But you got to have that. You got to have that in life. And again, when we've learned this, but I'll say it for those in the back section, it's not a program that you buy. It's not a course that you take. It's not a book that you read that makes transformation happen. It's the action that you take. And there's a key word that you said, Diane, that I'm going to wrap it up with here, is that you got to own it. Take ownership. Take ownership. So, Di, I want to thank you so much for just hanging out with me. I know it's past your bedtime. I appreciate you and I love you, girlfriend. For every single person that joined us tonight, and for those of you who've been commenting and showing the hearts, I just want to say thank you again. I want to encourage you. Oh goodness, Barbara, I love this. Barbara says, find your founders. Ooh, that's a good one, Barb. Find your founders. Who's a founder? A founder it's one of the 20 that will be in this group, that will be together with us, that will be learning, growing, and creating something that's going to help change the lives of millions of women around this world. Around the world. So, Barbara, thank you. I love you. And I'm so glad that you're in my life, my friend.
That was awesome.
Diane, I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you so much. Continue to go out there and help entrepreneurs and business owners change the world.
Yeah.
And you guys, again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for joining us tonight. And we will see you again tomorrow night. I've got a really incredible special guest that's local here in Riverside. So for all my people that y'all need to get online tomorrow night, because you do not want to miss my guest for tomorrow night. You don't want to miss it. She's a millennial and she is on fire and she's fabulous. So I got good women around me. I'm happy. I'm ecstatic.
Yes. That's so exciting.
So never forget, everyone, stay the course. You need to stay the course. Find whole life success. Whole life success. We love you, and we will see you again tomorrow night. Have a good night.
Good night.